Hello and welcome back to LBG Reviews. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Today we'll be talking about Animal Well, a unique game that has been a topic of many viral discussions online about singing its praises because of its unique aesthetic, its secrets, how deep and in depth the game goes, and just a lot of basically just a lot of praise has been sung about this game. So if you've been in the gaming space, you've been aware of video games for the past few months, you're aware of Animal Well, I'm sure. Now, in relation to my channel, Animal Well only has a few things to talk about. Number one, you can disable, you can override the button mapping or like the button displays that the game shows you. Like, it might think that you have an Xbox controller plugged in for some reason, when in reality you've just got a third-party Nintendo Switch controller or something like that, where you can override that and have it ignore it so that it'll just show default prompts for buttons. And then likewise, the game normally by default has scan lines that go over the screen all the time to make it have this like old school 90s like CRT television like eerie effect to it. You can disable those, which I did for a lot of the gameplay recording that you're watching now, because it is a little hard for YouTube compression, at least in my experience, to catch stuff like that. That doesn't mean that the game's a metroidvania. Well, metroidvanias are a style of game that was popularized by the game Super Metroid and the game Castlevania. Metroidvanias take inspiration from Super Metroid and Castlevania because both of those games had you exploring a wide maze of interconnected rooms and tunnels that a lot of the times you could not access various rooms unless you obtained certain upgrades. So, like, as an example, in Metroid you may have your basic gun at the start, but then like later on you unlock, like, say, missiles, or like you earn the ability to turn into a ball, or you gain a freeze gun. And like these various upgrades allow you to explore new areas of the map that you may have seen before but could not previously reach. Then likewise, Castlevania had similar mechanics to that, and basically both of these games required a decent amount of backtracking to enable you to explore the map further. Now, in terms of Animal Well, it is important to say that Animal Well is not a traditional Metroidvania. A lot of Metroidvanias will give you permanent upgrades that have no ammo usually, like they have unlimited ammo, that you can just use at any time. In Animal Well, at least the parts that I've played through, you do have a few minor upgrades like that have no like limits to them. Like, yeah, you can only spawn like later on you gain access to a slinky that you can use to solve little switch puzzles. You only have access to be able to spawn one slinky at a time, but like your main first quote-unquote upgrade in the game is being able to pick up firecracker plants. You can only hold 3 firecracker plants before you have to pick up more. What this effectively means is that you have to be very sparing with how you use your firecrackers unless you want to keep going back and gathering more. A lot of Metroidvanias are not like this. You gain access to the firecracker, you have access to firecrackers always. You might have to pick up, like, say, an energy source every now and then to replenish your energy supply, but you can, as long as like you have that energy, you can always use those powers, you know? Otherwise, the game has been praised for its unique aesthetic, as I mentioned. It's also been praised for a lot of other accolades, like the YouTuber Video Game Donkey had, I think it was back in 2020, had mentioned that he was starting up his own publishing studio, and this was the first game that his company published, and people are giving it massive praise for being such a smash hit out the gate. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Animal Well. It's a really fun game. I really haven't dipped my toes too far into it. I'm aware that it has loads of secrets and loads of interactions with a lot of the abilities you gain. And honestly, I'm looking forward to dipping my toes into it further. I've just been very busy recently as my family is working on moving, and I didn't really have time to dip my toes into it as far as I would have wanted. But that's all I've got to say about Animal Well. Let's see here. I know I've got gameplay recorded. Let's see. What game was it? Tune in next week for a video on Paper Trail, a unique game about a young girl who ran away from home and has reality-bending powers where she is able to fold the world around her like paper. It's a super fascinating puzzle game with a lot of interesting mechanics, intricate details, and challenging puzzles. It's a lot of fun to play. The puzzle mechanics are very unique, very refreshing, and it's just a game that I enjoyed playing for some time. See you guys then. Bye.